Lovers Cabrera had always believed that some dreams were simply too big for a girl like her, living in a small barangay far from the noise of Manila. Her world was humble, built from early morning routines, the scent of her family's small sari-sari store, and the sound of tricycles echoing through narrow streets. But above all else, her world was music. Music was the one thing that felt like it belonged to her completely. She sang while sweeping, she sang while studying, she sang even when her family wasn't looking, because she never wanted her voice to be noticed as something special. She didn't know it yet, but her voice was about to travel far beyond her village, across oceans, straight into the headphones of Simon Cowell, who would come face to face with a Filipino talent unlike anything he had ever encountered on The Voice Kids Philippines. The day of the auditions was humid, the kind of weather that made the air feel heavy on the skin. Lovers carried a small backpack containing nothing more than her ID, a water bottle, and a crumpled piece of paper with lyrics she had rewritten countless times. Her mother walked beside her, holding her hand as though Lovers might run away if she let go. But Lovers wasn't planning to run. She had come too far to turn back now. Even if she trembled inside, she knew this audition might be the only chance life would ever give her. As they approached the venue, she saw children laughing confidently, some rehearsing loudly, some accompanied by voice coaches. Lovers had none of that. She only had hope. And hope had carried her this far. Inside, the waiting area buzzed with activity. One girl could belt notes strong enough to draw spontaneous applause. A boy was practicing a dance routine while humming. Lovers sat quietly in a corner, her hands shaking slightly as she pressed her lyric sheet to her chest. She heard someone say that today's auditions were special because an international panelist would observe remotely, Simon Cowell. Lovers had seen him on television 100 times. He was the lion of talent shows, the man whose raised eyebrow could end careers or launch them into the sky. The news made her heart race. She had imagined singing for the judges of The Voice Kids Philippines, but she never imagined that a figure like Simon would be watching. When it was finally her turn, an assistant called her name. Lovers Cabrera. The syllables echoed like a bell, summoning her to a moment she feared she wasn't prepared for. Her mother squeezed her shoulder and whispered a prayer. Lovers walked toward the stage, each step feeling heavier. She tried to steady her breathing as the curtain lifted and the bright lights flooded her vision. For a moment, she froze. She could only see silhouettes, 3 chairs turned away from her, ready for a blind audition, and a large monitor where Simon appeared with a headset, his eyes focused intensely. She felt her knees wobble. But then, something happened that even she didn't expect. The moment she gripped the microphone, warmth rushed through her body. The stage felt like home, like a place she had always belonged but never visited. When the music began, soft, slow, familiar, Lovers closed her eyes and let go of everything, fear, doubt, self-criticism. She began to sing. Her first note sliced cleanly through the silence like a blade of light. It wasn't loud or showy. It was pure, fragile, and haunting. One of the coaches inhaled sharply. Simon leaned closer to the camera feed. Lover's voice carried emotion far beyond her age, telling stories of heartbreak she had never lived but somehow understood. The audience remained completely still, as though breathing might break the magic. Just when the melody reached its first high stretch, a twist unfolded that no one saw coming. A technical glitch sparked in the sound system. The music abruptly stopped. The room gasped. Lover's eyes shot open, panic flooding her expression. The judges exchanged confused looks. A crew member rushed backstage. But something inside Lovers ignited, an instinct she didn't know she had. She continued singing a cappella, her voice becoming even clearer without the backing track. What should have ruined her audition instead magnified her talent. Her voice rose, filling every corner of the studio. Simon whispered to himself, "This girl, she's unreal." The first chair turned. Then the second. The audience started cheering, but Lovers barely heard them. She was locked inside the music, unaware that Simon had already taken off his glasses, leaning closer as though trying to touch the sound. When the final powerful note soared out of her, the third chair whirled around. All the judges now faced her, stunned, but the biggest shock came next. Simon spoke through the screen and asked if she could sing the final line one more time, without any microphone at all. The entire studio fell silent. Lovers looked nervous but nodded. She lowered the mic and inhaled. When she sang the line again, her unamplified voice rang effortlessly, proving it wasn't the equipment or the acoustics, it was her. Simon, almost speechless, finally said, "I can't believe this. This is one of the best young voices I've ever heard. Anywhere. Ever." The crowd exploded. But the story didn't end there. Just as she stepped forward to choose her coach, a man in the back of the room stood up abruptly. No one recognized him, but Lovers did. It was her estranged father, a man who had disappeared from her life years earlier. He had been watching silently among the spectators. Her mother gasped. The judges looked confused. Simon asked who he was. Emotions ricocheted across the room. Lovers froze again, this time not from fear of the stage but from shock. Her father walked toward her, stopping several feet away. He wasn't there to disrupt her moment. He simply whispered, loud enough for the mic to catch, "Your voice, it reached me before I even knew it was you. I came because I finally heard the child I left behind." The studio was stunned. The emotional twist hit like a wave. Simon rubbed his forehead, visibly moved. The coaches exchanged glances, unsure how to respond. Lovers trembled, tears threatening to spill, but she held herself together with surprising strength for someone so young. She thanked him for coming but told him gently that today wasn't about the past, it was about her future. She said she hoped there would be time to talk, but for now, she needed to stand on her own. The crowd applauded not just her voice but her courage. Then came the final moment. She had to choose her coach. Every judge begged for her, praising her tone, her storytelling, her bravery. Simon added his endorsement, telling her she had the potential for global success, not just local fame. Lovers made her decision. When she spoke, her voice cracked slightly but remained firm. "I choose the coach who believed in me the moment the music stopped. The one who heard me, not the track." She stepped toward the judge who had turned first during the technical glitch. The studio roared with excitement. As she walked off stage, her mother hugged her tightly, whispering how proud she was. Her father, still unsure of his place, stood at a distance but nodded respectfully. The show staff guided Lovers toward the backstage area, where she could finally breathe again. Simon asked the team to send him a copy of her raw vocals. He said he wanted to keep an eye on her career because he believed she had something rare, something world-class. That night, Lovers sat with her mother in a small cafeteria outside the venue. The lights were dim, the noise minimal, but her heart felt full. She didn't know what the future would bring, but she knew something had shifted. Her voice had reached people she never expected. It reunited her with her father. It impressed Simon Cowell. It turned 3 chairs. And it opened a door she thought she would only ever dream about. Before leaving, her mother asked how she felt. Lovers looked up, exhausted but glowing, and whispered, "I finally believe I belong on a stage." Her story was only beginning, but already the world was taking notice. And somewhere across the ocean, Simon Cowell replayed her audition again and again, shaking his head in disbelief each time he heard her final note.